Ardraka. Botanical origin. Zingiber officinale Rosk. Family. Zingiberaceae. Sanskrit synonyms. Ardrakam. Ardraka, Shringaver, Shringaverum, Ketubhadra, Ardrika, Shringa, Shringika, Chatra, Rahachatra, Santi, Kafiri, Mahasada, Viswa, Viswapisaja, Nagara, Ketubhadra, Gulmala, Sakatesta, and Upaja. Regional names: Assamese, Ada, Bengali, Ada, Bombay, Adu, ill plant, Sant, Sunt, Sunta dried root, Alain, Alem, Ale, Adrak, Adu fresh, root, Gujarati, 8 plant, sunt dried, Adu, Atu fresh root, Hindi, Adrak plant, Kannad, Kanasumthi dried, Hasisunthi fresh, Malayalam, Chukka dried, Inghi fresh, Nepali, sunt dried, Telugu, Alam plant, Santi, Santhi dried, Alam, Alam. The term Ardraka or Ardrika means that which waters the tongue. Shringivera means which resembles in shape the horn of the animals, and Sakatesta means which grows generally in sandy places. Sunthi is the dried Ardraka, and both of them have almost the similar properties. Ardraka or ginger was known in China as early as 400 BC according to Flukiger and Hanbury. The Sanskrit name Shringivera is probably derived from the Greek Ziribep, but much more probably Greek name was derived from the Sanskrit, which is a very old name. In Arabic it is Zanzibar. The drug was known to Greeks and Romans who used it as a spice and who considered it an Arabian product because it was received from India by the way of the Red Sea. It is probable that they may have adopted the Arabic name, and which in turn was derived from Sanskrit Wat. 1972. He further mentions ginger must have been known to Marco Polo circa 1280–90, who speaks of having observed it both in China and India. John of Montecorvino, who visited India about 1292, describes ginger plant like a fig, the root is which could be dug up and transported. Nicolo Coni also gave some description of the plant and of the collection of the root. John Huygen van Linschoten in 1596 states that it grows in many parts of India and is exported. It was introduced into Jamaica and other islands of the West Indies by the Spaniards. The ginger was exported from the West Indies to Spain in considerable quantity even during the year 1547. Gather Call and Worth, 1936. Parts used, rhizome, properties and uses. Ardraka is one of the reputed drugs of the Ayurveda, and is employed in indigenous systems of medicine for very long period. The triad scholars of Ayurveda Vis, Charaka, Sushruta and Vagbhata mentioned its use in Udaroga, Shota, Karnasula, in Kapha and Vata Roga. Various properties and uses have been mentioned in different Nyantas such as Rayanigantu, Shalagram Nyanchu, Dhanwantari, Bhavaprakash, Nigantaratnakar, Sharangadara and others. Iyer and Kalamal, 1966. Ardraka is pungent, hot, cordial, aphrodisiac and easy to digest. It cures vomiting, ascites, dyspnea, cough, anorexia, fever, swelling, elephantiasis, flatulence, colic, piles, constipation and dysuria. It promotes digestive power, cleanses the throat and tongue and dispels cardiac disorders. It is chiefly used to cure diseases due to the morbidity of Kapha and Vata. Ardraka with lime juice and rock salt increases appetite and stimulates the secretion of gastric juice. Iyer and Kalamal, 1966, Misra. 1969. Ardraka has been described by Sanskrit writers as acrid, healing, carminative, rubefacient, useful in affections of the throat, head, chest, hemorrhoids, rheumatism, dropsy and many other diseases. Trikatu. A favorite carminative remedy which Hasant is often prescribed. The drug with salt taken before meals is considered to be a highly reputed carminative. It is taken to clean the tongue and throat and increase the appetite. Fresh Ardraka is much employed as a domestic medicine. The juice with sugar or honey is prescribed for colds and coughs. In European medicine, ginger is one of the most highly valued carminative and enters into many official preparations. Economic uses. Ardraka or Adrak is sold in every bazaar throughout India and is largely employed as a condiment. It is used in dried, preserved and fresh forms. Dried ginger is more used in the international trade. It is widely used for flavoring a great variety of foods, for the preparation of extracts and oleoresin, and for the distillation of the volatile oil. Dried ginger is available in two forms, coated and uncoated, and is widely employed for flavoring foods and beverages. Annan, 1976. Dried unscraped ginger is used for the preparation of the volatile oil, which is primarily used as a flavoring agent in confectionery, table sauces, and soft drinks. Preserved ginger is used chiefly in confectionery, in jams and marmalades. The syrup in which ginger is preserved is valued by pickle and sauce manufacturers. It is also used in the production of gingerbread. Botanical description: Herbaceous rhizomatous perennial, reaching up to 90 centimeters in height under cultivation. Rhizomes are aromatic. Thick lobed, pale yellowish, bearing simple alternate disticus narrow oblong lanceolate to lanceolate leaves. The herb develops several lateral shoots in clumps, which beginning to dry when the plant matures. Leaves, 15 to 30 centimeters, long and 2 to 3 centimeters broad with sheathing bases, the blade gradually tapering to a point. Inflorescence, solitary. Lateral radical pedunculate oblong cylindrical spikes, flowers rare. Rather small, calyx, superior, gomosepalous, three-toothed. Open splitting on one side corolla, of 3 subequal oblong to lanceolate connate greenish segments. Distribution: the plant is widely cultivated all over India, Bangladesh, Taiwan, Jamaica, Nigeria and Sierra Leone, from where it is exported to other countries of the world. The most highly valued kind comes from Jamaica. Ginger is also cultivated for internal consumption in Sri Lanka and several East Asiatic countries, and the crop has been introduced into Queensland in Australia and in 1976. The plant does not occur in a truly wild state. Cultivation: Annan, 1976. Gupta and Atal, 1970. The plant is cultivated in all the warmer and moister parts of India. In India, the total area under ginger in 1973-74 was c. 24,000 hectares, producing c. 38,000 tons of dry ginger. Kerala accounted for more than 50% of the area under the crop and 70% of the produce. Other important ginger growing states are Orissa, Karnataka, West Bengal, Madhya Pradesh and Himachal Pradesh. The important ginger growing districts in these states are Kozhikode, Kottayam, Malappuram, and Palghat and Ernakulam in Kerala, Fulbani and Balasore in Orissa, Shimoga and South Kannara in Karnataka, Darjeeling and Birbhum in West Bengal, Tikamgara and Chhindwara in Madhya Pradesh and Surmar in Himachal Pradesh. Ginger is grown both as a pure crop and as an intercrop. It may be grown in rotation with rice. Jingli. Ginger requires a warm and humid climate. It can be grown in a wide range of well-drained soils of at least 30 centimeters depth. Climate. Warm and humid climate is essential for the growth of ginger. It is grown in areas of heavy rainfall 150 centimeters to 300 centimeters. It grows well at altitudes from 1,000 to 1,400 meters as in Winad Kerala, Surmar and Mahasu, Himachal Pradesh, Darjeeling West Bengal and in Mysore Plateau. Optimum conditions for the successful cultivation of ginger are 1. Moderate rainfall at the sowing time to fairly heavy showers during the growth period, and 3. Dry weather for about a month before harvesting. It can also be grown in areas of low or moderate rainfall with the aid of irrigation. Soil. Texture of the soil is very important for the growth of ginger. Sandy or clay loam, red loam and lateritic loam soils are ideal for its cultivation. A friable loam rich in humus is ideal for its growth. Rotation. Ginger is grown in rotation with other crops as in Kerala. Its cultivation is rotated with tapioca, chilies, dry paddy, arrowroot and sesamum, and ginger getting turned once in 3 or 4 years, and in Mysore as an intercrop in coconut, coffee and orange gardens. Rotation is effected because of its exhausting nature and for maintaining the fertility of the soil. Preparatory cultivation. The land is plowed a number of times to bring the soil to a fine tilth. At some places soil is prepared by hand digging with a spade instead of plowing. Ginger is planted in rain-fed conditions in the month of March with the receipt of early summer showers. In Kerala, after the preparatory cultivation is over, the land is thrown into raised beds of convenient length of 3 to 6 meters long, meter broad and 15 centimeters high. Each bed separated by an interspace of 30 to 45 centimeters for the formation of irrigation channels. Ginger cultivation is said to be one of the laborious agricultural operations. Planting. It is usually cultivated as a monsoon crop mostly from April-May to December-January. Early planting of ginger during the first week of April is said to result in increased yield. It is propagated vegetatively by means of rhizomes. Seed rhizomes are carefully preserved under shade before planting. Selected healthy seed rhizomes are cut into pieces, to 0.5 centimeters, long about 15 gm in weight with at least 1 good sprouted land. The The seed rate is 1,200 to 1,400 kilograms per hectare for a rain-fed crop. Seed rhizomes are planted in shallow pits 5 gm deep on long raised beds with a spacing of 20 centimeters, or 20 by 15 centimeters and covered with soil and a thick mulch of green leaves. The rhizomes sprout in 10 to 15 days under optimum soil moisture conditions, while in dry weather may take a month. Manuring and mulching. Ginger is an exhausting crop and requires heavy manuring. Well-decomposed farmyard manure or compost at the rate of 25 to 30 tons hectare may be applied at the planting time. Oat cakes or mixtures of fertilizers is also used sometimes. Ginger is reported to remove lime and phosphoric acid from the soil in large quantities, and so these will have to be applied to obtain good yields. These mixtures may be broadcast over the prepared beds and covered up before planting or applied over the seed rhizomes in pits before covering. The fertilizer mixture is recommended to contain 50 IBS of N1, 50 IBS of P2O5 and 100 IBS of K2O. Mulching of ginger beds with green leaves is very important. It keeps moisture and helps in sprouting of rhizomes, acts as a cover to prevent washing away of soil and as an organic manure for the crop. 10,000 kilograms of leaves per hectare for first mulching is required. Same amount is used to mulch the bed second time after 45 days of planting. In Kerala, 20,000 kilograms of green leaves are required for mulching a hectare. Other cultivation operations are weeding and earthing up. The first weeding is done before the second mulching, and after second mulching beds are earthed up. Another weeding and earthing up are given about 3 months after planting. The irrigated crop is weeded 4 to 5 weeks after planting. Weeding is done twice or thrice and earthing up is done at least once. Harvesting and collection. Gupta and al., 1970. The ginger plant grows to a height of about 0.6 meters and develops several lateral shoots in clumps. As the crop matures, the lateral shoots begin to dry up. The ginger plant rarely flowers, sometimes in August-September. The crop is ready for harvest in about 8 months' time, when the leaves begin to turn yellow and gradually dry up. Dry age is less if the crop is harvested 15 to 30 days earlier than the full period, though the yield is not affected. Sometimes, if the development of rhizomes is not adequate, it is left in the field for another season. The harvesting is done by digging the ground and uprooting the rhizomes or carefully lifted with a spade. Mysore rhizomes are removed by plowing. Yield. The average yield of ginger rhizomes in Kerala is 5,000 kilograms per hectare. Under good garden conditions, the average yield of green ginger is 10 to 15 times in certain soils, with heavy dose of manure and with very good the seed rate. Attention, the yield is reported to be as high as 40 times. The yield of ginger can be increased by 4 to 5 times by growing high-yielding types and adopting improved cultural practices. A yield of 25.00 kilograms of green ginger per hectare is reported from Rio de Janeiro variety raised at the Agricultural Research Station, Ambalavale. Preparation for the market. After digging out, the rhizomes are separated from the plant, washed in order to remove the adhering soil and dried in the sun for a day and then taken to the nearest village markets for sale as green ginger. It is in this form that bulk of the produce is brought to the market for disposal, but for purposes of export only dry ginger is used. Curing dry ginger. This is prepared by peeling the outer skin present in the green rhizomes and drying in the sun. The rhizomes are kept soaked in water overnight to facilitate peeling. The outer skin is removed by rubbing them well between the palms of the hand, and after thorough cleaning, it is taken out and the outer skin is off with split bamboos having pointed ends or with broken glass pieces. Peeling should be done with great care and skill, since volatile oil is present in the epidermal cells of the rhizomes, and excessive or careless peeling will result in damaging the cells and loss of oil. Steel knives should not be used, as their cutting edge stains the produce. The peeled rhizomes are again washed well and dried in the sun for about a week, taking care to turn the whole lot frequently as to ensure uniform drying. Finally, the dried rhizomes are rubbed together to remove the last particles of skin and other foreign matter. The dried ginger so processed is commercially known as unbleached ginger. Another quality of ginger known as bleached ginger is also prepared in certain areas of the state for bleaching. Green ginger is soaked in water in large shallow cisterns with the level of water about 0.3 meters above the rhizomes and trampled till the produce is thoroughly clean and peeled till free of its outer skin. The peeled ginger is then removed and dipped into clear lime water and dried. This process of dipping in lime and drying is repeated until the product receives a uniform coating of lime and assumes a bright color. Dry ginger prepared in this manner is also known as lime ginger. This quality of ginger is great demand in the Middle East countries and also within India, while the unbleached variety is in demand in UK and USA. Bleaching is also done by fumigating ginger with sulfur, but this practice has now been given up since the importing countries have prohibited the presence of sulfur dioxide in the commercial samples. The outturn of dry ginger bleached or unbleached, prepared in the above manner from green ginger ranges from 20 to 24% according to the variety. On an average, about 1 to 1.5 tons of dry ginger can be obtained from an acre under favorable conditions of land and weather. Another variety of dry ginger known as red ginger is prepared by coating the green peeled rhizomes with red sand instead of lime. This process is more popular at Tuticorin in Tamil Nadu state, and is in demand in Sri Lanka and Aden only. Annan, 1976, Gupta and al. 1970. Marketing of ginger. As ginger deteriorates in quality on storage, it is marketed immediately after cutting and drying. The peak harvesting season is from November to January, whereas the peak marketing season is during December to February. Dry ginger is mostly exported. About 85% of the entire exported quantity from India is the produce of Kerala state. Production in other states is hardly sufficient for local consumption in the form of green ginger. Moreover, the quality of ginger in other states is also not of exportable quality. Preservation of seed ginger. Ginger rhizomes have to be preserved carefully for about 5 months from the time of harvesting till the date of sowing in the field for the next season's crop. Rhizome rot, sprouting and shriveling are common defects noticed when large quantities of fresh rhizomes are stored. It is thus very necessary to pay great care and attention to keep the seed rhizomes in healthy and viable condition during the storage time. Large-sized healthy rhizomes are selected from the harvested produce and treated with 0.5% to 5% sol of weldable saracen for about 30 minutes as a prophylactic measure against soft rot diseases. These changes can be treated with the same solution. The treated rhizomes are dried under shade and stored in pits dug out in cool place inside a shed. The pits should not be more than a meter deep. A layer of sand or sawdust is put at the bottom of the pit over which seed rhizomes are put. Either the pit is left as such without covering or is closed with a wooden plank leaving some space between the seed materials and the plank and plastered with mud. In the latter case, a small hole is made in the plank through which a shallow bamboo is inserted to keep the rhizomes aerated. This method is prevalent in Kerala state. In certain tracts, the selected rhizomes are loosely heaped up or spread over a layer of dry sand in the corner of a room or shed. Varieties of ginger. The varieties of ginger cannot be easily distinguished except by the size of the rhizome, its color and fiber content. In the commercial market, ginger is known by the name of locality in which it is produced or the name of the port from which it is exported. Thus the produce of Travancore Cochin is marketed as Cochin ginger. In Malabar area, Charaned variety is considered to be the best. It is thick, fleshy, reddish-brown in color and less fibrous. Irad ginger is second in quality, being smaller in size and more fibrous. The Winad quality is considered inferior mainly because of greater fiber content. The Agricultural Research Station, Ambalavale Winad, has reported that two principal foreign varieties, Rio de Janeiro and China, obtained from Brazil and China respectively, are superior to the local types, giving nearly 3 times their yield. Rio de Janeiro. This type introduced from Brazil has been reported to record the highest yield of 25,000 to 30 kg hectare, which is nearly 2 to 3 times the yield of the best local type. The fiber content of this is 5.19% and the recovery of dry ginger works out to be 16 to 18%.